Craig Conroy continues to build the team for the future. It sure is getting exciting here in Calgary. Let's go. You are watching the Armchair GM Podcast.
Yeah, I mean, Craig Conroy has definitely done a bunch of proactive moves that nobody saw coming. Now, some people saw the Kadri move coming, which was absolutely it was shocking to me that out of all of the moves that happened, it was Kadri and Uyghur, the two that people thought least possible. And that signifies a big change in philosophy for me, and for the team going forward. And it seemed during his Conroy's post trade deadline media availabilities that is going to continue over the next couple of years. So that's huge for us. I couldn't be more happy. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way, Chris.
I'm pretty excited, right? Going into the deadline, it was a lot of, gee, I wonder, is Craig going to be able to pull it off? Obviously, the Kadri move. I know you spoke about it numerous times where you figured it'd be a summertime thing, if anything. But pulling that move off and only retaining 20% of the salary over the next 3 years is pretty remarkable. Would I like to have seen a bigger return? Sure. But you got to think, like, with somebody with that kind of a contract, 3 more years after this one at $7 million, it's a hard one to swallow for your team, right? Because most teams are already up against the cap. The cap is going to go up, but it's not there yet. And so any team that's contending already has a team or already has a bunch of money invested in players, and they're already at that cap, right? So
For the most part,
needing to shift things around and get make some room for a Kadri it's not super easy, and I'm really excited that Craig was able to pull that off. I didn't think he had it in him. As you said, the mantra around the Flames has been, just mismanagement on assets and only trading players at the end of the contract, or if they're demanding a trade, or a problem in the room, that sort of thing. Never proactive, right?
Yeah.
I think it got to a point where they saw the writing finally on the wall, especially with the season we've had this year, that it's just not it, right? We're about to lose or about to miss the playoffs again for, was it the 4th straight year? And that's an issue. Clearly that's an issue. And the fact that they're finally seeing that is at least giving me some hope for the future.
Yeah, and it's funny because it wouldn't have been an issue if we had. Now, I understand not pulling the plug the first year of Huberdeau and Uyghur and Kadri, because there was a bunch of unforeseen situations there. Like, a lot of people now say that they saw the Huberdeau decline. No, you didn't.
Nobody did.
I'm sorry, you didn't see a guy getting half as many points or less than half as many points as he did the year before when he was a 115-point player. No, you didn't see that, especially since he was well over a point a game for like 4 or 5 years before that. So I get not pulling the plug and trying that again, but it was definitely a problem that they didn't do it after not doing well for the next year and the next year, and seeing that it wasn't just a Sutter thing, it was also Huska, and it wasn't just a certain couple players. It was making tweaks and things still going badly.
Mhm.
They could have and probably should have pulled the plug a couple years before they did, but I never thought they actually would pull the plug. At least not to the extent that they have. If you want to hear us talk about the Mackenzie Weegar trade, make sure that you check our previous video or a previous episode on your Spotify or Apple feed or whatever. Yeah, check the last video. But yeah, as far as the Kadri trade, let's hop into that. So Kadri was traded to the Avalanche like a couple hours after the deadline. I mean, obviously the trade was done before, but it hopped in the queue. And anyways, we got forward Victor Olofsson, who is essentially I like to say he's kind of like Sharon Govich light and kind of like Martin Firk, but better type of thing, where
Right.
very one-dimensional shooter, kind of just likes to stand in one spot, not move a whole lot, and shoot. He has a good shot, but he's not like he's the type of player that good teams play on their third or fourth line and scratch for half the season, um, and only really bring in when they need a power play merchant. This year he has 11 goals and 14 points, or sorry, 11 goals and 14 assists for 25 points in 60 games. So that's not a whole ton, but he's also, again, he's playing on their third, fourth line most of the time, and their second power play unit. He should have been on their first power play unit because they're somehow Colorado's power play is awful. It's one of the worst in the league. You would never, ever, ever guess it because of how much they score 5-on-5. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Um,
It's
so we
it's
got
really crazy when you consider the firepower they have, um, between forwards and defense for Colorado. But
for sure. So we got Victor Olofsson. We got a conditional first round pick, which is either going to be a 2027, I believe, first round pick, or if a protected, top 10 protected 2027 first round pick, I believe, or it slides to 2028 and becomes a unprotected first round pick, depending on where they finish. And then a conditional second round pick in the 2027 draft. And it's going to be so the Avalanche currently hold 2 second round picks in the 2027 draft. And it's going to be the best out of those 2 picks.
yeah,
And
yeah,
also,
isn't one of them also tied up potentially in with Toronto?
I think the first round pick, the 2027 first round pick is.
Yeah.
um, and also unsigned Edmonton Oil Kings prospect Maximilian Curran, who's got uh, 14 goals and 27 points in 31 WHL games this year. He was drafted in the 5th round by the Avalanche a couple years back, 19 years old, 6'3", 187. Seems like a fairly decent, left shot winger or left shot center. So feels like a pretty decent shot at being a bottom 6 forward at some point. But also, being 19 and only having, I guess he's got 41 points in 31 games. That's pretty good. And last year he had 74 points in 65 games. So yeah, that's not too bad. Now he had shoulder surgery this year, so his season is done. But yeah, should be interesting to see how he develops over the next few years.
Yeah, yeah. He's just one of those players that kind of gets thrown in the mix whenever there's a big deal that goes on. I'm not sure how much appetite the Flames had to make sure they included him in the trade. Is there potential there? Sure. But you're always wary of somebody drafted in the fifth round. If he develops into a bottom six guy, great. If he doesn't, it's really no loss. Right? It's not that big of a deal. He can make a living in the A, and everything will be all right.
Yeah, I think they do have some pretty decent hope for him. Like again, he's 19, so he's like on the older side for junior, but he's also had his 18-year-old season was also 74 points in 65 games. So it's not like he's got superstar numbers. He's not the 115, 120, 130 point guy that a lot of junior superstars are, but he's still got over a point a game. So he's got something there, right? But I think the main parts of the trade, obviously for us, like Victor Olofsson is a pending UFA, and I don't see a world in which we keep him unless they're expecting to flip him, which I don't think so. I think they're probably just going to let him go at the end of the season. But the first round pick and the second round pick are definitely the two main pieces of the trade, and the two pieces that I think, even though chances are, the first round pick isn't going to be, a top 15 pick, I still think that, you get your Matt Vagardine or your Colin Potter at, in the 25 to 32 range, and you're off and running, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. I think. Yeah. I mean, obviously, when it comes to Victor, he's 30 years old. He doesn't really. Obviously doesn't fit the rebuild situation. If I mean, what do you do? You sign him for $1 million to flip him? I don't know how much appetite there is there. I say they probably let him walk. Um, he'll finish out the last 21 games with the Flames, and that'll be that. Unfortunately, that will hinder potential Hunter Brustevich as somebody coming up. Obviously, I'd rather see Hunter play over Victor. Um, going into the final stretch of the 25-26 season. So, I mean, yeah, it's one of those players where you see it in the in the package, you just kind of go, well, okay, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's unfortunate because I would rather see some youth develop in the NHL to finish off this year, so we can make sure that we're drafting in a position of strength. This coming summer, which I mean, clearly Conroy has built up a system there to where the the guys are going to be, I'm sure, pretty excited come draft day because they've got a lot of work to do. They got a lot of guys to sift through to find the appropriate amount of roster spots to keep up with the amount of picks that Conroy's brought into the Flames over even the last couple of years, really, because it's been a body of work that has not just been this season, but 2-3 seasons long.
Yeah. I'm not. Oh, my voice is not working very well. I'm not like upset about it. Like, he's not the one stopping Hunter Brustevich from coming up. He's a winger,
Right.
It's Joel Hanley, Oli Mata, Braden Bahal. Those are the guys who are stopping Brustevich from coming up. Also, you gotta remember. I don't know if you listen to any of Conroy's media availabilities, but he like essentially guaranteed that Hunter's coming up soon. So that's a positive, especially since I think Hunter's definitely ready. And looked the part when he was up earlier in the season. As far as
Yeah.
and yeah, there's a roster spot that's being taken up, but I would rather have Olofsson in, and than Kadri, because Olofsson is taking up a bottom six spot, which is like, 8 to 12 minutes, and Kadri's taking up 18 to 20 minutes. So there's going to be more minutes for Connor Zary and for Matt Vigardine and for Matt Coronado to go around, as opposed to, Kadri being here and having all of the minutes. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Are you surprised that Craig didn't? I mean, I'm assuming the offers just weren't there, or if they were, he didn't like what he saw. But are you surprised that Pahal and or Hanley weren't moved at the deadline to free up a bit more space on the back end?
Yeah, Pahal, Hanley, or Mata. I was actually quite surprised at that,
Mhm.
just because I think everybody knows, and I think Craig Conroy also agrees that Hunter Brstevich is ready. So I wonder if there was just not many offers, or if he was just too busy with the Kadri thing, and with the other deals that he did that we'll get into here in a minute. But it's hard it's hard to say what happened there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. There's also going to be more minutes to go around. Even, there's too many defensemen for sure, but there's still going to be more minutes to go around. Like, we're already seeing Perek getting more minutes just because Uyghur's gone.
Right.
So once Brstevich does come up, and whether he'll play every game or not, um, we're going to be seeing either him or Perek or both in pretty much every game for the rest of the season. Well, probably one of them at the very least every game for the rest of the season, and that'll be good. Um, yeah, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to get him in. I'm not overly too worried about it, but
Yeah.
I do think it would have been nice just to flip a Hanley or a Pahal for a fourth, fifth round pick or something, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, Zane was able to slot in for 17 and a half minutes in the game against Ottawa. So, that's good. Came up from, I think he was roughly averaging around 15 or 4, between 14, 15 before that. I was surprised that Kuznetsov played less than 17 minutes in that game, but he maybe he needed a break. Who knows?
Well, he play. Did we take many penalties? I don't think we took many penalties, because those two were paired that night, and I think that
Mm,
we had more power plays.
we did.
I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but I think we had more power plays. Anyways, so that just gives Perek a few extra minutes there, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, so here's one that I think kind of surprised everyone, because the Kadri trade hadn't come through yet. The Flames acquire Ryan Strome. I almost said Dylan Strome. Ryan Strome
Yeah.
from the Ducks for a seventh round pick. I have a theory on this,
Right.
but I want to get your thoughts first.
Um, it seems like a waste, in my opinion. A 32-year-old player that can't slot into a young Ducks team. I guess that's probably why they were a young Ducks team, because he's unable to slot into games. I mean, he's played a few, but I know he wasn't happy with his situation there and whatnot, which is, I get it. I don't I don't see any reason to have brought him in personally.
Um, I do. Um, I don't think I would have, just because personally, I'm of the mind that I want to see more of the young players get more of an important role. But with Conroy said the Kadri move was basically done when they did that.
Mhm.
And he's like, again, he's not going to be taking all of Kadri's minutes, but that is a centerman, a right shot centerman, which we don't have, right? So he'll slot in to probably, I would guess, like a third-ish line role. It was only a seventh round pick. He's got a year and a half left. And I really think that, especially since he was just a seventh round pick, him just getting playing time over the next year before next deadline. I'm not going to go out there and say we're going to be able to flip him for a first round pick because that's absurd. But I think
Yep.
that we're going to be able to turn a seventh round pick into a third round pick. Now, do I think we need any more third round picks? I think we're probably pretty set for a couple years, but it's still decent asset management. I'd rather, and it's worth saying too, Rory Cairns is injured, and Conroy said as much when he was asked about the Ryan Strome deal. He said, in other words, he said, he probably wouldn't have done it if Cairns was healthy, but because Cairns is out,
Yeah.
he needed somebody to play center, and I mean, Sam Morton is okay, but there's not a bunch of potential there, in my opinion. So just having a centerman to play
Yeah.
is part of the reason he did that, and probably to flip him for, whether it's a fifth round pick next year or a fourth round or a third round pick next year, whatever. I'm not
Yeah.
upset by it at all. Um, Again, I'd rather see younger players get an opportunity. Ryan Strome isn't going to be the catalyst to make us climb in the standings, so it's whatever to me. I'm not worried about it.
Right. I do find it kind of somewhat funny that we have two more first round picks than we do third round picks over the next 3 years. That's
Yeah,
some good work on Roy, really, honestly. And obviously with the Uyghur trade, our second round picks are plentiful, especially in the 2026 draft. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what Craig does at the draft to see where, does he find a way to move up in one or two of these positions, or it's yeah, it's gonna be fun.
yeah. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was like 55% or something like that of the second round picks, the total second round picks in the upcoming draft are held by the Pacific Division.
Really,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Um, yeah, there's multiple teams that have like multiple Pacific Division teams that have like 3 or 4 upcoming second round picks. Um, Anyways, final trade. Again, just final thoughts on the Ryan Strome thing. It wouldn't be a move I would have made, but it's also a move that I think is low risk and has a possibility to let the Flames gather or upgrade an asset for having a guy for 1 year. It's
Right.
not crazy to me. And if he doesn't work out, it's a seventh round pick. You can scratch him, whatever. Um,
Right.
so yeah, final trade. The Flames trade Jacob Betaglia, who was a second or third round pick. I can't remember, a couple years ago. Um, had a really, really strong year last year in junior, and then this year he kind of slowed down a lot. I think he may have had an injury, hasn't been playing overly well this year, although I think over the past couple of weeks he's kind of sped up.
Mhm.
For what I'm hearing prospects experts basically say is older Jacob Betaglia, Brendan Othman. And again, I'll tell you my theory on this one right away. My theory
Okay.
is the Calgary Wranglers need help desperately. And Othman, I think, has a little bit of NHL upside. I think there's a chance he could become a decent middle six forward, but I think right now the Calgary Wranglers are going to need help over the next year or two, just because we're going to be bringing guys up, and they've been struggling without Gradine, and yeah, I we also have an absolute ton of left wing prospects, and a bunch of them are in junior, and they're going to need entry level deals coming up here soon. So it's, I don't know, maybe Othman becomes something, but I don't think there's much more of a chance of Battaglia becoming something. I think they're both. No, I think it's
Mm.
just that Othman is AHL eligible, and the Wranglers a need help. I think that's the only reason that deal was done.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they trade away a right winger and bring in a left winger. Um, he's 23 years old in Othman. He's played 42 games in the NHL with 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists. Yeah, is he ever going to play another NHL game? Maybe he'll slot in if there's an injury at some point in the future. I don't really foresee this being a trade that moves the needle for either team, to be honest. It just feels like a trade for the sake of a trade.
A little bit, yeah. No, yeah, okay. So I don't know what position Battaglia plays, but he is a left-handed winger.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, again, like I don't think either of these guys have any sort of superstar potential or anything like that. I do think Othman gets at least a few more NHL games throughout his career, but he's not going to be a crazy needle mover. I think he's I don't know. I don't know how to say this. Maybe Dryden Hunt, maybe with a little bit
Sweet.
more. Yeah, but but who cares, right?
Yeah.
We got
Yeah. I
fucking
mean,
15 second round picks coming up. Who cares?
yeah. Yeah. Right, we're about to draft 4 players that are going to keep Othman in the A,
Yeah, exactly.
essentially.
So whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, that's the trade deadline. I think the main theme that can come out of this is I just think it's good that it's really, really good that the Flames have finally pointed in a clear direction that isn't misguided. I think they have
Right.
a good direction, which is a true rebuilding direction. Um, and they've proven it by trading away 2 of their quote unquote best players, even if neither of them were having the best season they've ever had.
Mhm.
I think they traded away Kadri and Uyghur, who are both veterans who were on long term deals, who were part of the quote unquote leadership group, and for young pieces, whether that be draft picks or prospects, and went out and made the team worse. Now, I don't think that there's ever going to be a deal where Conroy's being like, "Oh yeah, let's make the team worse." Right? He's not
Right.
out here trying to lose the games, but I think it's a positive outcome, like a positive side effect of making rebuilding type moves is it's going to help our draft position.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, GMs don't trade players saying that the team becomes worse. They
Yeah,
trade players saying the future becomes better. And that's exactly what they've done. They put the Flames in a position to be better, depending on how the draft goes and how development goes and how all those chips need to fall in place. But he's given them the chance to do it. When that's really all you can do as a GM is present the franchise with the ability to progress and become a contender. And honestly, I think he's doing a really, really good job. He has ever since he came in, right? I mean, look at the players that he's had to deal away to further the franchise.
yeah,
As much as shocking as it was when Gaudreau walked away from the Flames and Kachuk wanted out and wanted to be traded, trading a first and Monahan to just for the pleasure of being able to sign Kadri, stuff like that. Like that summer was just a fucking disaster in all accounts, right? But we bring in Huberdeau and Uyghur at the time, and sign Kadri, so at least there was what felt like a glimmer of hope. But
yeah,
man alive, did that come crashing down quickly in the first season. And
yeah,
so I think, given that scenario, I think Conroy has done a really, really good job of moving those pieces out, because I mean it's been really clear for a lot of the fan base for 3 years now that it's just not going to work out this way, and that we need to go in this different direction and draft players and get younger and get more skilled and just build for the future. And it's really refreshing to see that ownership, I'm sure begrudgingly, but at least they're finally on board with some of this, right?
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
good.
and it sounds like there was a rumor that ownership was stopping a Kadri trade because of the retention.
Right.
I don't know if that's true or not. Conroy obviously ended up getting the trade done, and when he was asked about it, he said that ownership was always on board with retention. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it
Yeah.
seems to me like ownership has embraced it again. Whether you say, like you say, whether it's begrudgingly or with a little bit more of a purpose and actually agreeing with it.
Mhm.
I don't think you or I will ever know unless we get Murray in a room and talk to him. Not entirely sure if he'd ever leave that room, but anyways.
He may not. I've been working on
um,
my chokes.
kidding, but yeah, I think it's just a good overall sign that Conroy, and this is a big thing that Tree Living specifically couldn't ever do, and that's get ownership on board with anything. And I think I mentioned this so many times over the Tree Living years, and even a couple times over the past couple years with Conroy. Part of the GM's job is to be able to come up with a plan and come up with a way to explain the plan to your boss that makes your boss agree with the plan, or at
Right.
least somewhat agree with the plan. That's part of everybody's job, whether it's you run a company, Chris. Um, some of your techs, I'm sure, think, hey, how do I get Chris to agree with this situation, because I think it would be better for the business or better for the staff or something like that. you know
Yeah.
Everybody and in any job who isn't the boss, their job is partially to get the boss to agree with things that better the business, right?
Yep.
Tree Living was awful at that. Craig, I think, may have figured it out. Time will tell, but it seems like he's figured it out for now, and that's huge.
It really is. And you're right. Like as a business owner, you're always looking for ways to better your business, whether those ideas come from outside or from within. But you need to be able to at least listen to the approach and what the pitch is. Whether you agree with it or not, or whether you're going to do it or not, is one thing. But no, it is becoming more clear that Craig has at least done a good job at pitching to Murray that hey, this is what's happening. It's clear what's on the ice. Whether it be Craig alone or at least the group of management has been able to get it through Murray's head, and here we are. So it's good, and I hope that Murray sees it as a plus, because I'm assuming the first year in the new arena he wants to start selling that baby out, right?
Yeah.
So what better way than to have a good young emerging you know potential contender than the way Craig's doing it now, right? Do it through the draft, fill in the pieces when you have the development in place. And I'm on board with it.
Me
And
too.
I know you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on the trade deadline. We could go through all of the trades that other teams did. I don't think that's specifically necessary. There was a bunch of minor trades. There wasn't really much big, but Toronto fans are absolutely reeling right now, and it is
I'm here for it.
hilarious to me because of how long I've spent telling them you guys are supporting Brad and he is ruining your franchise, and they would not agree with it. They would not. They always blame somebody else.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of good quotes that I've seen recently, just to cheer everybody up. There was a tweet I saw that said, "I'm going to drive my car through a fucking Boston Pizza."
I saw that one. It still makes me laugh. It's so
right?
good.
And then there's this one from the Steve Dangle podcast. So Steve Dangle said, "The thing about Brad is the knuckleheads above him in Calgary were interfering. They still are, but you could argue Conroy is handling it better. I was willing to give Brad a chance, and then he screamed like a child for about 10 seconds." And then Adam Wilde said, "Turns out Flames fans were right."
What? Holy, I bet you that hurt.
Yeah.
Words are best eaten, I must say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyways,
honestly,
I figured some of us could use a little bit of a morale boost here, even though the
yeah.
trade deadline and weeks before seemed to, and you know what? Another thing that signifies the change of philosophy. Not only not only Uyghur and Kadri, but also Anderson, right?
Yeah. Three out of the four alternate captains that we had on the team 2 months ago are out of here. That says a lot.
Yeah. And
that says a
with
lot.
Huberdeau being
For
out
no
too,
and for no reason other than just building the future. It's not like there was anybody was disgruntled or anything like that. As far as we know, it was just
yeah, there
for the
were rumors
betterment of the
Kadri would have been
Calgary
upset
Flames.
if he wasn't traded, but I don't really buy that because there were also like Steinberg saying like Kadri said he doesn't really want, like, he wouldn't mind being traded, but he's not going to go out there and make it seem like the Flames are bad or anything like that because he signed with the Flames and he's happy in the city and all that type of stuff. So, I don't think there would have been any disgruntled players in this, and not Uyghur. Uyghur would have been just fine to stay. So,
yeah, totally. Yeah, Weir was surprised to be traded.
oh, 100%.
I mean, even though he was given the option and had took a while to think about it, clearly, which is his right because it was in his contract. And then I think he honestly didn't think it was going to happen. And then did you watch that interview with him on draft
Elliot
day
the
or on
Weasel.
Friday? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was, I
Um,
mean, his comment for Elliot was good, right? I mean, that's you've given the okay to waive for a team, but you don't honestly think it happens, and then you find out about it, an hour later through an Elliot Friedman tweet. It's like, well, fuck.
I think something that says a lot about Uyghur as a person as well is because again, like he may have been having a bad season, but personally, I think he would have rebounded just fine for next year. And I also think that him as a person was a good guy to have in the room. Not that I'm overly worried about morale. I think Flames morale is just fine these days, and I think Uyghur had a bunch to do with that. But I
Yeah,
think that Mackenzie Weegar re-upping his commitment to parachutes for pets after he was traded says a lot about who he is.
yeah, about who he is as a human for sure.
Yeah.
Um, did you see the quick little video post that he put up for Utah?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, right?
Yeah.
And he embraces his surroundings very quickly,
Oh, for sure.
and
Yeah.
and becomes part of a fan favorite in
The
a hurry.
fabric
And he's
community as well.
he's a super likable guy. He's going to be missed, on and off the ice. I think, regardless of what his season has been this year. But yeah, no, it's good on him, right? Like you're right. I forgot about him doing that with his charity. That's really cool.
Well, it's Backlund's charity, right? Uyghur
Yeah,
just latched onto it and jumped in
yeah,
with both feet, right? But
mhm,
he, again, he is keeping his commitment to it.
yeah,
I can't remember. I read the article. I can't remember exactly. For some reason, I think he re-upped, so he's going to be doing it for longer than just this year. But a lot of guys move their charity money around when they get traded.
yeah,
And it's fun to see when a person likes Calgary enough to keep their charity money where they are, even when they got traded. So,
yeah.
um, so yeah, I'm going to probably say we should call it there because we got a game coming up that you and I both want to watch.
Right.
But good trade deadline
Exciting times.
in Conway. We trust. Make sure you check out our last video where we talk about the Mackenzie Weegar trade in more depth. Check us out on X at armchairgm_pod. Make sure you check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you hit that notification bell, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the trade deadline and the moves that Conroy has made over the past couple months in the comment section down below.
Absolutely. And also, if everybody wouldn't mind doing me a favor, our link tree is going to be in the description. Can I get everybody to click it and follow our new Spotify account, just to build it up and see if we can't get more listeners, followers, that sort of thing. So if you're a fan of the show and you used to listen to the audio format through Spotify, go ahead and click the link tree and just follow the new site. Plus, there's also Amazon Prime in there as well. Um, that being said, well done, Craig. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Go Flames.
Flames.
Cheers.